It's very important that we take part of the maintenance so we can reuse the knowledge that we can get out of the projects. And then all our projects is an education process. So it means that we train the managing director, the board of directors, those who are involved in the project, and all the way down to the contractors and the workmen out on the site. And we are telling them why we shall do things in this way. So education is a very important thing. And then we are networking with other consultants. Our company is just 2 persons, but we have a daughter company. Our oldest daughter, Karin, she is an architect, and she is running her own business, but we are working in very close connection. And then we are working together with the Cellar network, which is a fantastic network, a global network, and I can put forward a question to the network, and I will have an answer within 24 hours telling me, take contact with this man, he is living in India or in South America, and he have been involved in such problems, and you can start talking with him. You are already introduced to him. And we are working with system design. Yep. So the leading principles for eco-cycle adaptive design is, and this is word that you have heard before, but it's very important. Reduce, reuse, recycle, renewables, and rethink. And the hardest to come through is to start rethink. We are blocked in our brains. We are trained to do what we always have done. But to start to think in another way, this is very, very important to go through this procedure to do something better. Yep. And what we are studying, we have looking in the assessment system called BREEAM. It's similar to LEED in the United States. This is a UK-based assessment system. But we think that it's easier if we are studying the flows through a building and make it the best available technology. And these flows are the energy flow, water, air, and material. And we have special checklists for going through this, both if we're doing just a one family house or a big building. We can use the same manual and the same list. Yep. So what I said was all the projects is a learning process. And we are trying to give them answers on these questions. Why is it important to build eco-cycle adaptive buildings? If you don't know about that, the background, why we shall do that, then it's very difficult to start making a project. And then what can we learn from already existing projects? And this is one of the topics for my presentation today. And how can we build and rebuild in the future? And we have a manual for doing this, from this involvement, from the first idea to the maintenance phase. Yep. So future projects must be sustainable. Eco-cycle adaptive infrastructure, and this is very, very important all over the world, both in our high-tech countries where we are just flushing out everything, our rest products with drinking water, less energy consuming, less water consumption, fresh air. It's very important, especially for the schools that we need to have fresh air, otherwise the children is sleeping in the end of the day. We try to make projects self-sufficiency in many ways. We are using local materials, and now we are introducing also city farming, and this is very important to can have a possibility to produce our food close to the place where we are eating it. And this is a project we are working with now. And then energy sufficient transportation. Yes, please. This is a figure that we used to present for politicians. Politicians, they never want to read big issues of paper. They want to have a picture and some lanes. And I used to say that they are used to look at the television screen and see the translation, the two lines in the bottom of a television screen. That's what they can consume. So that's the reason why I'm trying to use this picture to introduce this way of thinking, that the sun creates the presumptions for the eco-cycle. Most of the people think that production takes place in industries. Production takes place in nature. And in Sweden, the biomass is growing about 4% per year. And this is the possibility we have to consume. If we start to consume more, then we are taking from our capital. So the growing nature is the interest rate we can use. And that's the reason why biodiversity is necessary. And we try to introduce a holistic view on planning, design, erection, maintenance, and destruction, and with a high degree of self-sufficiency. So all those flows through a building they are connected to each other. And in the center is the human beings living in the building. Yep. And now to the projects. This is our own village. Ingrid and I bought 18 hectares of land in 1966 and started to build a village for ourselves and for our friends. And at that time we said we shall write down the way of living. This was the first social vision we presented in a project. We write down the way we wanted to live in this village. And then we say, keep to that and make no alterations during the whole production. So we started to build our own house in 1967. And the first summer we lived there was 1968. So now, this summer, we have been living there for 40 years. And now we have moved out to this place. So we are living all year round. This is our house. This is the office. This is the boathouse and our sailing boat. And this is the harbor for the whole village. We have a sauna, and this is the square we are solving all problem in the world, sitting together there. But mostly in the sauna, this is the right place to solve the problem.
In the bedroom.
Yeah, or instead of the bedroom, yes. Yeah, but it's similar. Yeah. So we have been living there now for 40 years. Yeah, next. So this is the harbor, and all the people living in the village has a possibility to build a boathouse. And the inspiration for this village is the old fishermen's villages in Sweden. Most of them are built during the 16th or 17th century. Yep. And this is our boathouse, and I used to invite all those who are passing by. So when you are in Sweden, come and sit on our veranda.
Where in Sweden?
In the northern part of Sweden, close to Sundsvall, if you know. And we can have dinner together on this balcony. Yes, please. Yes. And this is in the winter. We have rather strong winters sometimes. Sometimes the ice can be like this. This is the ocean, the sea, the Baltic. And when we left Sweden more than 10 days ago, there was the day when the ice went away. Sometimes the ice will stay there until middle of May. Yeah, next. And this is how the houses look like. I've designed all the buildings. We have a special pattern for making the buildings, but they are individual, so every family has their own house. Yeah. And this is showing that we try to live as we teach. So we are driving ethanol cars, both we and our children. We have done it for 12 years now. American cars, as you can see. First, it was impossible to find ethanol cars in Sweden, but a man who I've been working together with imported 400 Ford Taurus ethanol. And still we have this car. And when we come to a client and said, I think you shall build green, and then if he asked me, how are you living? If I then say I'm living in a energy consuming house with connection with the sewer line in the community, and I'm driving a bad old Volvo, then he perhaps don't rely on me. So it's important when you are discussing these problems and these possibilities, I will say, then you must live as you teach. Next. And we are sailing in the summer, very low energy consuming. Yes. And we are growing our vegetables in the summer. We have 2 greenhouses. And we are growing our plants in sand and grass cut. So we are not using the old-fashioned way to have traditional soil. And it means that the grass cut fertilize the sand and the plants. And there's no weeds in such a way to farm. And there is less need of water. And the harvest is double than on ordinary way of growing plants. Thanks. And this is our earth cellar where we keep the food during the summer and the winter. This is the old-fashioned way instead of a refrigerator. Thanks. And now we are coming to the toilet. So in our building we have a prefabricated separating toilet. It's a dry toilet, and the urine goes to a tank in the ground. And if you don't remember anything else from what I'm saying now, perhaps you will remember this. Urine is the best fertilizer that you ever can get. We are already separated as we look like. If you are naked and stand in front of a mirror, you can see that we are separated. Why shall we then put all these things together and then separate it at the wastewater treatment place? It's better to have it separated from the very beginning. And the reason why we need to do that is that the feces contains of very little nourishment for the plant, but it contains of viruses and bacteria. So the bacteria is possible to kill within 3 months, I will say, but the viruses, and there's about between 20 or 30 viruses that are really dangerous for us. And they can live up to 24 months in water. And some of them can encapsulated live for many, many years. And if you have a stomach disease, you are producing 10 billion viruses per day, which you are flushing down in your toilet. If you kill 99% of these viruses, still 10 million viruses are living. And every day on the globe, 50,000 children are dying from diseases from bad water. 50,000 children die every day on the globe, depending on bad water. And this is a very big problem. But back to the urine. So when you come home, pee in a bottle, take 1 part of urine, 10 parts of water, mix it, and use it for your flower pots inside and for your flowers outside. So this day you are spending here, you are saving a lot of money. You will never more buy fertilizers for your garden or for your flowers. So this is a very good investment you have done to come to this house today. We are connecting the urine in a container in the ground, and we contain it for 1 year. And in spring, you can use this fertilizer, and we pump it up and mix it with water and put it on the ground. Next. This is the next very interesting invention. This is the transport tool for the future. This is a folding bike. I haven't brought it with me now, for I know that it was rather long way to bike down to San Diego. So, but usually Ingrid and I, we have one each, and we are taking them with us when we are going abroad. And next. This is the bike when it's folding. It weighs only 7 kilos. It's a Swedish invention, and you can bring it on in the car, in airplanes, in trains, and wherever you are going. I have used it in India, in the Himalayas, in Africa, in Vancouver, in Italy, and all over where we have been going. Yeah, next. The next project is our own studio. It was built 91 to 93. Yes, next. The next, yeah. And this is the office. It's really nice in the winter to sit in the office when it's snow outside and the greenhouse is still green. And when we left, the grapes were flowering, and at midsummer we can harvest the fresh grapes in the house. It's a little bit earlier than Italy, despite we are living close to the Arctic Circle. Yes, next. And this is the sun collectors on the roof, and it gives us enough of heat and hot water from April up to October. And on the roof we have also used for potato farming. Yep. And this is the toilet in the other building. And this is a wooden toilet I have designed. It's a container inside, and the urine goes down to the container. And this toilet we have exported to Colombia. For the Indians up in Andes, they want to have water flushing toilets, and they are flushing all these out in the rivers. And if you look in a river in such a country, you will never touch the water. So we are trying to introduce these toilets in Colombia, so they can build it by themselves using local materials, take care of the urine for fertilizing, composting the feces. And this is a very simple way. So Ingrid and I, we are just emptying these toilets once a month, and we are going to the compost, and then we keep it for 1 year, and then we can use it as fertilizer. And we are using earthworms to making the compost. Yeah, next.
Is that for the feces?
Well,
is that for the feces?
Yeah, the earthworms eat the bacteria and the viruses. In the winter we are using an Italian wood gas oven. And the wood gas set on fire and go up to 800 up to 1000 centigrades is a very efficient way to burn the firewood. Yep, next. And this is the grapes. Yeah, next. The next project is the Lagerberg School. It was built in 1995. And we were asked in the beginning of April if we want to design an eco-cycle adapted school for the community in the neighborhood where we are living. And I say, yes, we are really interested. The problem is that we must be on the site for building it 1st of July. But it was an old school from 1933, and they wanted to rebuild also this building to show that it's possible to retrofit old buildings. And this is very important. And then they wanted to make an additional part for the school, showing the possibilities when we are working with a totally new building. What you can see here is the tower where we have the wood pellets for the heating. This is the sun collectors they are using during the summer. We have natural ventilation with no fans. So these chimneys take care of the air. And we are using this metal sheet on the building as a sun collector. it's heating up the air, and the air goes up in these columns and is connected to, they are connected to the chimneys, and they are working as ejectors. So in the summer, they are better ventilation and then in winter. And this is possible to do also in hot climate. And the urine, the separating toilets here, the urine is in a container here, and the urine taken care of from the community, and it's sent to the golf course for fertilizing the golf course. Shoo. Yeah, next. And this is the design of the building. This is the old school, and this is the new one, with a gymnasium at the end. Yeah, next. And this is how the school looks like. It's a 3-story building, and this is the classroom, the kitchen, and the rooms where they can meet outside the classrooms. And it was very interesting. I've been working very close to the teachers, and they were really engaged in this thinking. And they said, in squared classrooms, we get squared students. So they wanted to have classrooms that not look like ordinary classrooms. And when I visit the school, I can see they never have the furniture in the same position than the last time I visit school. So they are always changing depending on what they are doing.
What's the orientation?
North is up like this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next. And this is the outside of the school. This is the greenhouse. They have compost. So the children, they need to serve the lunch to each other. So every class bring their food from the kitchen and serve it, and they make the tables and take care of the leftovers. And with the leftovers, they bring to the compost. And the politician told me that the children in this school eat 50% more than in other schools in the community. Depending on, they are sitting together, they are taking their food, they are responsible by themselves of getting the lunch out. Yep, next. So this is the building structure. And now I hope I speak. Diane, stop me if I go too fast now. Yeah, we have an agreement. So in the building we have a basement, and this is also a supply air canal. This is prefabricated concrete with a concrete on top of it. So this is the concrete slab, and then all the electric installations and the water and wastewater pipes are going in this supply air canal. It's very easy to maintain it. It's easy to connect everything. There are steel columns in the middle. We are using linoleum tiles or prefabricated and tiles put on the prefabricated concrete. The roofing gives shadow for the classrooms. All the electric installation is in open canals here in the middle of the building. We have a brick wall with a heat-absorbing brick wall. We have a light from the ceiling from both directions. The natural ventilation. The built of laminated beams and columns. We have a metal sheet and 450 millimeter of insulation with cellulose in the roof, and 220 millimeters insulation by cellulose in cellulose fiber in the walls. So it's a well-insulated house. Yep. So there you can see the skylight from two sides, the glow laminated beams. The natural ventilation goes out in the ceiling. This is the first project we used tropical plants as a part of the ventilation. The tropical plants take up the CO2 and produces oxygen. But I can show you in later project how we handle these things today. Many of the building materials have many functions. So for example, in the ceiling here you can see this is load-bearing things that it's noise reducing, it's insulating, and at the same time it's a part of the cooling of the building in the summer. Everything is bolted and screwed together so we can take down everything and reuse everything. No nails. Yep. And this is the energy system. So this is the tower where we have the pellets. And there's a pellet stoker into the boiler. And the ash goes out in the basement here. And then it goes out to the forest as fertilizing to the forest.
How do you get the pellets?
The pellets comes from companies that producing pellets from sawdust and from different parts of from the wood industry that they're not using for making pulp and what they are doing. And then you can see the solar energy on the top of the building.
Is the stoker, is that automatic?
Automatic, yeah. It's screwing these pellets into the oven. So it's everything is automatic. And then we have these accumulators for the solar collectors. Yep. This is the wastewater and water system. And this is perhaps a little complicated, but we can start with the toilets again. Here's the separating toilet. It's a water flushing toilet. And the urine goes out to this tank outside the building. And the feces goes down and it's separated from the flushing water and go down in a compost where we are using earthworms. Italian earthworms are the best. They are eating all these things very, very fast. So this is the separator, and the flushing water, we have a UV filter to kill the bacteria and viruses. And then the gray water goes out to the sewer line. We wanted to make a pond for cleaning of the gray water. And everything is, biological waste is composted, and the children, they are responsible for taking care of sorting all these waste from the building. Yep. And this is the toilet in the school. This is a wall-hanged porcelain toilet. This is the urine container, and then the feces go down in that direction. And for the small children, there's a special seating, so they not be thrown in the toilet. And this is the container for the compost. The water coming down here, and the water go around like this and go out to the UV filter.